secondhand items a lot of the time come with a curse. One day you unscrew the control and open up and there's a tooth in there.
The owner was just like, yeah, we saw you coming. That was a bit creepy. People believe that there's a ghost in the toilet. If you treat those statues with disrespect, you might get cursed. Hey guys, it's Cathy Cat.
And Ladybeard, welcoming you to yet another rule-respecting installment of
Cat with Beard. I was hoping you'd say a spooky episode of Cat with Beard.
You want to do it again? We'll just keep this one and do a new one again.
Yes, you can
Welcome
do that.
to another spooky episode of Cat with Beard.
I don't think we can cut it like that.
Welcome to another not necessarily spooky, but not necessarily rule-respecting installment of Cat with Beard.
There we go. We are in the how to not get cursed and survive getting spirited away in Japan episode.
If you have not, then you should go and listen to Cat with Beard episode 21.
Yes.
Because we talk about horror stories in Japan.
Yes.
And the fact that in the summertime, that is the time for horror stories. Theory being it's very hot. So if you hear horror stories, ghost stories, that'll make you shiver, make you cold, cool you down. Frankly, you're going to need a lot of them to keep you cool all day long.
Because it's hot this summer, for sure.
Very hot this summer. But we're talking about how to deal with evil spirits in Japan, how to not get spirited away, how to not get cursed.
And I'm actually surprised how many ways there are of getting cursed in Japan.
It seems like everyone should just be cursed, according to...
I mean, like, it explains a lot about if you watch The Grudge or if you watch The Ring, then a lot of those things will kind of resonate a little bit with you because you're like, oh, I think I've seen something like that.
Yeah, if you're into Japanese horror, then hopefully it makes a lot more sense. Not even Japanese horror, just Japanese folk tales and whatnot. Hopefully it makes more sense after today.
Yes, so there are signs, symbols, objects you must avoid in order not to get cursed or get spirited away. And if you watch the anime Spirited Away, a lot of things will actually make sense in this one as well. Spirited away means to get taken to the other side,
taken to the
other
spirit
world.
realm, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to tell you all the hints you need to not have that happen to you.
This is
not turn into a pig.
Yeah, this is definitely a spooky episode. So, I mean, part of it makes also sense because Japanese people believe in like there's a plethora of gods and a plethora of spirits, but also plethora of kind of ghosts and similar things.
Yeah.
That roam the earth and the world. It's getting spooky today.
Yeah, very, very
and yokai
spooky.
also kind of ghosts, not ghosts, spirits in between. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, this is not an episode to listen to before going to bed, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Keep you up. But so first things first, we're going to talk about things you need to be careful of when you're in Japan. A lot of things, symbols, objects, you got to stay away from.
Don't touch or tamper with
O-fuda.
Which are like, they look like a sticker, like a large sticker. It's like a tag.
It's a kind of a strip of paper, sort of looks like a sticker or something like that. There's going to be a bunch of calligraphy and designs and what have you drawn on them. And when you go into Japanese buildings, you'll see them. A lot of the time, there's like a little shrine type thingamajig, and the O-fuda is there, either in or beside the shrine. Yeah.
So it's not just stickers, right? So it can be stickers, but can be also paper slips, or it can be wooden.
Give me a piece of wood.
Things
that's right.
that have like writing on. They're supposed to like support, protect you, or seal away evil spirits.
Yeah, exactly. Keep away the bad ghosts. Keep in the good ghosts. I guess.
Away with the bad, in with the good.
That's exactly right. You see them around the place. So if you, when you come to Japan, you'll see these in homes, in businesses, and all over the place. Really. And so
generally, it's a positive thing. You don't need to be scared about them, but just don't tamper with them.
Yeah.
Don't move them or anything like that. Don't move them. Don't randomly, so, this looks nice. What is it? Touch it. Don't touch it.
The O-fuda gets changed every year at New Year's, right?
That's when you can throw the old one away, get the new one.
And there's a process you go through when the old one gets destroyed by the priest or so forth. You go to the temple for this process to happen, then you get your new one, you put that up for the new year. So if you see a collection of them, then that means these ones are old, yeah? You don't want to mess with an old one. If you go messing with an old one that was not disposed of at the end of the last year, that means there's some awfulness hanging out in that.
I think depending on how strict it is, you have like a leeway time of how you dispose of it, but you should kind of dispose of it every year. But if you see an area where there's a lot of those stickers, of those O-fuda stickers, that's the worst area. Stay away from that area, because that's usually a very bad place spiritually. It means kind of like maybe someone tried to exercise that area and they couldn't, so they just tried to put the O-fuda there to seal that in, and then maybe someone else tried it and they tried to seal that too. You see it in a lot of anime as well, when they seal away some sort of bad spirit, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so when you see an O-fuda, don't O-fuda. O-fuda is a totally different thing. And O-fuda...
Don't off the O-fuda. Don't take it off.
Don't touch it. Don't mess with it. Don't touch it. If there's a big collection of them, stay away from whatever has this collection of O-fuda on them, because it's bad news.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's also, in a way, it's someone sees it as something spiritual, so you shouldn't move that around anyway. Yeah, if you see something spiritual, you don't just mess with that. Just leave it.
Be a rude thing
leave it where it is. Next time of leave it where it is, beware of secondhand items.
This is something. Now, this sort of explains a lot, because in Japan, people like things to be new in general.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of the time when people buy houses here, what they'll do is they'll buy a house and then they'll knock it down and they'll build a new house. They'll build a new house on the land, yeah? And it was always, I never really understood a lot of it. There's two reasons, apparently. Firstly, the humidity in Japan makes things go bad. So just generally speaking, you need new things because the old things have gone bad. But also, secondhand items a lot of the time come with a curse.
It could be. So, for example, people can actively put a curse on an item, and then you don't really want that item. So, for example, I heard popular ways of cursing items is like hiding fingernails, hair, or teeth in the object, which is absolutely disgusting.
Oh, man, can you imagine? You just get your new PlayStation and you're doing really badly on your games, and suddenly you're doing badly at school and you're sick all the time. Then one day you unscrew the controller and open up and there's a tooth in there.
Ugh, gross. I mean, it might not give you a curse, but it might have a negative effect on you. Maybe you just get bad luck. But apparently also a lot of people believe that if an item has been long enough in someone's possession, it kind of gets, how do you say that?
Personified?
Tsukumogami, which means things that have been used for a long time will have a spirit. So objects that have been used for a long time or have been like handled by their owner. I find it's the easiest way to explain it with dolls.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Dolls. I mean, that is the easiest explanation. You think of dolls and you're like, oh no, I can see that now. Yeah.
Old, antique. It's been played with by a child in 1842 doll.
Yeah, you can understand why people believe that might have some sort of spirit attached to it at that point, which makes it difficult in Japan to get rid of it. So, for example, in Japan, if you have Hina Ningyo, which is for the girls' festival, the family will collect these dolls. They're very expensive. But,
really?
Once the girl moves on or, leaves the house, maybe, you don't know what to do with those dolls. So there's actually, for example, in Wakayama, a special shrine. It's the Awajima Jinja, which specializes in Hina Nagashi. Okay. So they would then take those dolls that people will give to the shrine, and then they will try and set them to water to kind of wash away the spirits that might be in it. Oh, wow,
really?
So there's actually places you can take these items to. They also had, for example, tanuki statues that you see everywhere. Anything with the face, but also for example, the 12 animals.
Yes.
That you see, the horoscope animals, but also different types of gods. There are lots of those statues all over that shrine. So a lot of people brought it there, asked the priest, please take care of this, and then they will try and get rid of the spirit. So the people giving it away will also not be possessed or get like bad luck or something like that.
So the priest has the ability to cleanse things of evil spirits and so forth.
At least that shrine focuses on that. Not all of them do, but that shrine does focus on that.
Okay, well, it's good that someone has these abilities.
Yeah, we did the YouTube video there on Ask Japanese if you want to look at it. It's actually not that scary, and I think that's what we tried to actually convey also in that video, but it's literally, it's very Japanese culture heavy, so that kind of thing.
Yeah, secondhand objects. So if you go to the secondhand store in Japan, beware, especially if you find something with a piece of hair or a piece of fingernail or a tooth attached to it somehow, or anything with a face. Stay away from that. Could have a curse. You could be cursed, and you could be cursed just by being there.
Your anime doll might give you bad mojo. Is that what you're saying? Your anime figurine might give you bad mojo.
It might. It might.
But generally, a lot of secondhand items are okay in Japan, but anything that has like old, traditional, long time used item might have a bit of a negative vibe. I remember there was a house clean out who had a little table in front of their house saying, please take this item for free. They must have done a clean out. And there were like anything from magazines, a little bit of cutlery and stuff like that. And I saw some really nice cutlery and I was like, oh, cool, I need a new bowl. So I got myself 2 bowls and a Japanese friend of mine was with me there. And then 2 weeks later, instead of cutlery, they put out some sort of, I think it was Momotaro dolls, like little figurines of Momotaro. And my Japanese friend then was like, no, don't.
Oh, really?
She was like, cutlery might be fine, but it has a face and it's a Momotaro and has a story. Don't take that. That's not good. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So that kind of belief is quite in a lot of people.
All right. Okay. Well, don't take secondhand dolls in Japan. Isn't that interesting? Because you have the idea that, you're going to hand your doll down generation to generation.
I think for generation, it might be different if it's from generation to generation. But if from someone else who you don't know the family and what they're like and what happened in the family, you kind of don't want to do that.
I understand. Okay. All right. So stay away from secondhand things.
Secondhand items that you feel there's maybe a bit of a bad vibe. I mean, like every one of us has always been to, I mean, maybe you have. I don't know. Sometimes you go to antique places and you feel a bit uncomfortable.
Well, they're just generally musty places, aren't they?
Yeah, you feel a bit uncomfortable. So yeah, I remember once going to one of those antique places that was, mind you, in Germany though, and the owner was just saying, yeah, we saw you coming. And I realized when we left the store that there was no one else in that store. So
what, we saw you coming?
Yeah, they were like, oh, we saw you coming. We saw you driving up the hallway. I'm like, yeah, this is, we're just looking. And then I left later and I realized, why did he say we? There's no one else in this.
Oh, I see. I see.
That was a bit creepy.
Oh, right. Really?
Yeah, anyways. So since we're scary right now, the next thing that you shouldn't mess with.
Stones and trees, if you see them out and about in the countryside.
Stones and trees.
It's nothing, isn't it? Because the trees are just there. That's what the countryside is. So are stones. So you can't go messing with their location.
We're going back to like people believing in spirits, and sometimes, especially if a tree is very old, people believe that that tree carries a spirit.
Okay, all right.
So you shouldn't like climb on it or treat it roughly, or like, I don't know, put your lover's name into that tree.
Okay, fair enough.
Because that's a spirit, and that spirit might not really like that. Also, the tree might actually be placed there on purpose, maybe by generations before, to protect that area or similar things like that.
All right. And stones as well. If you see stones in a particular place, don't just think it's a rock. You can pick it up and throw it or kick it, whatever.
It might be placed there for a reason. It might be a stone to actually protect that area. And maybe it's like, and that's why, again, it brings us back to a lot of anime where there's like certain pillars or magic stones that hold something in place. They protect this area. And if you break the stone, then sooner or later things are going to break loose, right?
But this stone we have a photo of here is a very specific stone. It's got
that's a different stone we're talking about. What you're seeing on the picture, that is a Jizo statue. They will look like small people, and generally there will be a red apron among them. I hope I explained that right.
Red apron stuck on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're called Jizo statues, and you will see them a lot wherever you go. Be respectful to those. Some people say these statues are dedicated to the spirits of children, and they are often placed in places where children were killed or buried as a way of reducing the number of mouths to feed during times when people didn't have enough food.
How sad, man. How awful.
So if you treat those statues roughly or with disrespect, you might get cursed.
Well, that's fair enough.
That's, so you might not know it, and just like, especially as a foreigner, you might go like, what's with those? Whether they all look the same or whether they have those.
Hey,
not going to don't do that. Show some respect to them.
Yeah, those little red aprons. You can kind of tell, can't you?
You will, like literally stones of little people with red aprons. And sometimes people will like hat, clothes, and food will be supplied to them.
Well,
and next, since we are at food and hat and clothes and water.
This is interesting, isn't it? Water is
Stay
cursed
away from water. Not always, but generally water is seen, and you might have heard about this, or maybe you played a Japanese horror game. that water always seems to kind of connect the world of the living and the spirit world a lot. So
is it specifically flowing water or still water or the ocean? Do we know what kind of water or just any water?
Any kind of like large water can be connected to. That's where the ghosts or spirits tend to congregate, or as a boundary between the different worlds.
Really?
Things like that. I've played a horror game which tapped into that heavily. It was one of the Fatal Frame series.
Okay.
They call it Project Zero in Japan, which again taps in like was the shrine mistress of the water, and generally that was absolutely terrifying. There is, for example, a time right now in summer, in August is the Obon time.
Ah, yes.
Where it's said that kind of the world of the living and the world of the spirits is a bit closer together. So you honor your ancestors, but during that time, you're not supposed to go swimming. You're not supposed to go near rivers or the ocean because you might get swept away. You might get spirited away.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It is inconvenient because it's right in the middle of summertime, isn't it?
It is in the middle of summertime, but also it's the time when the jellyfish come out, the dangerous jellyfish.
Wow.
So it has actually a double reason
Another
to
good
keep people
incentive.
safe.
Yeah, another good incentive to stay away from the water.
It's a double
right
reason
now.
to keep people safe during that time.
But it is very interesting that water should be a potential avenue for getting cursed or spirited away, isn't it? Water, generally speaking, you think it's the elements of life.
Yeah, fresh and new, I guess. Well, you gotta have to judge that for yourself. But there's again, then you'll have like like in the Ring.
Yeah, of course.
And then
good
that,
point.
I don't know, dark,
and
deep
that ghost
water.
chick who lives in the bathroom at school, Hanako, is that her name?
The toilet ghost.
Toilet
Hanako.
ghost.
Again, water, the spirit world is a bit closer to the human world.
Yeah, she's a ghost who hangs out in Japanese schools in the bathrooms. And it's not because she's a pervert that she hangs out in the bathroom.
like
it's because there's water there.
It's like a Japanese version of Myrtle.
Exactly.
The Japanese version of Myrtle, I guess. So yeah,
Turtle.
but that one, the Toilet no Hanako has been around way longer than that. So that's been like for years and years and years.
A long, long time.
And people believe that there's a ghost in the toilet.
Next, this is something. You cannot go playing hide and seek at Twilight.
Now, I doubt that you guys will be playing hide and seek at Twilight when you come to Japan. But if you do, or if you maybe bring your offspring or someone's offspring, do not play hide and seek in Twilight.
When was the last time you played hide and seek?
I can't even remember when was the last time you played hide and
I
seek.
have no idea whatsoever, but I haven't done it at Twilight recently. That's why I'm still sitting here.
So apparently Twilight is the time of the day when the other world and our world are most easily collected and closer together.
I see.
And so you're not supposed to be playing hide and seek because you might actually get snatched by an Oni during that time. So probably the worst thing is go towards Twilight, towards water playing hide and seek.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
With an O-fuda, and whilst doing it, hiding behind a statue of a...
Oh, wow. Yeah,
That would
you're
be
really
awful.
tempting your luck there. I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah, it should be really horrendous.
Because you can also get cursed or bad mojo if you read, listen, or talk about horror stories too much.
Tell you something. This seems like a difficult one to deal with since we have a culture of telling horror stories in the summertime. How are we going to not get cursed when we all have a culture to tell the horror story?
There are certain stories that apparently have a curse in them.
Okay.
Not all of them do, but some do.
Okay.
So for example, if you think about the tape with the ring, the story it contains or the video that you see, that curses everyone who watches it.
Oh, mate.
So you're supposed to, like with some stories, like horror stories, they have a curse in them. And if you read the book completely or the story,
oh, mate.
Oh, my God.
Tell you what, the words, "this movie sucks," have never been more applicable than they are to that tape. Sucks your soul.
Yeah, so such curses are malicious curses to curse an unspecified number of people. So they're strong and difficult to exercise, like the tape from the ring.
From the ring. How did they, at the end of that film, how did they deal with that in the end?
You have to pass the curse on to get rid of it.
Oh,
so you have to show it to more people to get rid of it.
Really?
Yeah, you have to show it to someone. And then they have to show it to someone. It's like one of those chain emails that you have to pass on and where they keep saying, if you don't send this email to people, then you're going to get bad luck.
Hang on, so that means, okay, so if you're the person who breaks the chain, then now you get...
get her to visit you, yes.
I see. But if you just pass it on, then you're all right.
You should be safe in that situation. In that situation, but might not work for other curses.
What happens if you've got a broken VCR? I can't remember the last time I saw a VCR.
Maybe, I don't have no idea. Maybe she's currently on USB sticks. Who knows?
Maybe she is. She probably is, actually, isn't she?
Probably.
She's probably in the cloud.
Could be. Oh my God, I was terrified.
Is, isn't she?
I'm easily scared, so like literally I'm freaked out already.
I'm sure she is. I'm sure she's doing TikTok dances and so forth. It's just, you watch this cursed TikTok video and now you're going down.
Oh no, I hope that is not going to become a thing. Oh my God, that's terrifying. But there's some cursed locations in Japan, and a lot of YouTubers there was a phase when it was a fad for all the YouTubers to go to cursed locations, and I did not do that because no.
Which cursed locations? I know about that one. There's that village. You got to go through the tunnel to get to it. I know
we were talking about that actually. Yeah, in episode 21 we were talking about. But there's certainly like locations like creepy houses and such where you're not supposed to go to. I mean, if you want to create your content there, it's at your own risk.
So are those YouTubers all now cursed?
I don't know.
Have you seen any of them?
I haven't seen them afterwards.
Aha! You know what they found in that house? A VCR.
Oh my God.
A VCR. And a puddle of water.
I'm so bad with horror.
And some pieces of paper stuck into some secondhand objects. That's what they found.
No.
You're not a horror fan?
No, I really, really can't do horror.
I can't really anymore either. I used to love it, but now the real world is just so terrifying. I don't need any more help.
Also quite terrifying, yes.
Yeah, the real world's got me.
Well, if you actually get caught by an oni or a spirit and you get spirited away, there is one lesson you learned from the movie Spirited Away.
Don't eat anything while you're there.
Yomotsuhegi is the term for that one. So if you eat food in the other world, you become an inhabitant of that world and you cannot return. So if you find yourself in that scenario, don't eat there.
Yeah, that's why it's Spirited Away, why the parents became pigs, because they ate the food, so they became of that world.
It's based on like one of the origin stories of Japan. So in Japan's oldest history book, written in the 7th century, they say that Izanagi no Mikoto, so the founder god of Japan, he tried to save his wife Izanami no Mikoto from the world of the dead, but she said, sorry, I've done Yomotsuhegi and I cannot return. She ate food there and therefore she cannot return. So if you find yourself spirited away, try not to eat there as long as you can.
What? Do we know what the process of getting spirited away is?
I guess it's different anywhere else. But we talked about that village, that weird village that happens that, in episode 21. There's probably different ways of getting spirited away.
How do you realize that you have been spirited away?
I mean, you probably find yourself surrounded in a very weird, different, strange environment.
That just sounds like taking a trip overseas.
I hope there will be differences and you'll be able to tell. But how can you save yourself? There are talismans, omamori, that you can carry to protect yourself on your way. That may be there to ward off bad spirits and similar things like that. If you really feel like you're not doing well and you have like really bad luck, you can also go to a shrine and do yakubarai.
Oh,
so that's kind of when you're trying to get rid of bad luck. The shrine priest will pray for you and all of that. In the end, you will get your own O-fuda, actually. That's supposed to protect you. That's another way. Or if you just enter in your house, you could maybe have a little pyramid of salt in front of your door.
Salt?
Left and right salt. That's an ancient one for purification, actually, even in the West.
Really?
Salt, yeah. Salt's been used a lot. So you have salt over your shoulders to kind of, protect yourself from bad mojo. Also, you're supposed to do that after funerals and such.
Oh, really?
Yes. So have always a little bit of salt at your home it's a purification tool, really.
Maybe I need a bag of salt.
You can see a lot of restaurants and stuff. You see usually like a tiny little dish of salt just in front of the door, left and right.
Great point, actually.
So
you do
watch out for that.
Yeah, you really do, don't you? Yep. I'm always scared I'm going to kick it by accident.
Well, don't do that.
Yeah. Hey, but isn't it interesting because then the water is the gateway to the spirit realm and the sea is salt water. So how do those two things go together? Because the salt would purify everything, but the water's going to take you away to the spirit world. What's explain yourself, Cathy Cat?
Well, I'm not explaining anything. Hey. I'm just trying to explain what's going on. And I'm not quite sure.
I acted like it was...
You killed the argument. But yeah, don't get cursed. And if you are, maybe go to a shrine and pray for getting better and maybe talk with the priest. I think the yakubarai is not cheap. You pay like between 5,000 yen to 1만 yen to like 10,000 yen or more, depending on what you want to do. Yes. And if you have a particularly unlucky year, which is decided also by your age apparently, then you should ideally go.
Really?
Yeah, but if you feel like you had a lot of bad luck and it's just things are not going so well, people in Japan go to a shrine to pray for things to get better.
Really?
Yes.
Have you done that?
I've done it. I had a year that was absolutely terrible. And that is a YouTube video of that. Me and another television persona, we were in Kamakura. We went to different shrines and temples to pray. Off camera, I pulled a fortune slip because she said, let's get a fortune slip. This place in Kamakura is very famous for their fortune slips. I pulled one and it was Kyo, which is the worst fortune you can ever get.
What's wrong with Kyo?
It's the worst, like the worst fortune.
Oh, no.
There's like a little bit of luck or something like that. And there's the one I've only gotten there during the year when I wasn't doing so well. It was literally just bad luck. I'm like, wow, okay. So we went to another shrine where you're supposed to breathe on a dish and put all the bad you have, breathe it out on a little pottery dish as a holy stone. So we're back to the holy stones. Okay. And you're supposed to smash that pottery dish against the stone, and the holy stone will like break that bad luck.
Oh, good. That sounds good.
So she did that. She breathed on it and she threw it and it broke into 100 pieces all around it, like so many pieces of all the pottery. Yeah. I breathed on it. I threw it and it bounced back.
Oh, no.
So, ever since then, I'm a little bit, superstitious.
Fair enough.
It was not a good year. The shrine priest was nice. He said, the kami is forgivable. He forgives, so he can try again. The second time I did it, it broke beautifully. Good. But yeah, if you have really bad luck in Japan, you might want to go to a shrine and pray for things to get better.
Sounds like something worth having a crack at. Yeah, breathing all your hatred into this pottery and then destroying it. That sounds great.
Yeah, if you type in Ask Japanese Kamakura, you'll be able to see that horror. It did happen. It's still on video. How that thing just bounced back. I still can't believe it.
Have you had any cursed experiences in Japan, as you understand? Do you have any? Have you encountered any cursed objects?
I haven't. Have you had any?
Not to my knowledge, but anything could have happened.
Anyways, I don't go to those places and I don't indulge in these kind of things. And I'm glad that the episode is over now because I feel already uncomfortable talking about this.
It is frightening. Ladybeard is generally frightened of these things as well.
Really? Yeah. You don't seem to be. No. Big, strong, wrestling boy.
Well, that's exactly it. How's that going to help me against a curse?
Oh.
How's it going to help me against a ghost? You know what I'm saying? Woo. I realized this when I was much younger. When I was training martial arts all the time, I was like, if I get confronted by a human being, I know exactly what to do. If a spirit comes for me, then I don't have a leg to stand on. Oh. So I realized this many years ago. Yeah.
Well, let's put some salt in front of us and put some salt around us and salt everywhere. There we go.
Yeah, hey, spirits. Oi, we're awesome. No need to curse us ever.
We're trying to do our best.
Yeah.
We're trying to do our best doing good things.
Let's be frank. We're doing the best we possibly can.
We're really trying hard to survive here.
And you're amazing for watching another episode of Cat with Beard.
Thank you so much for tuning in. And
it's a hard one to wrap up, isn't it?
It's really hard to wrap up. Yeah.
Well, don't get cursed. I guess that's the moral of the story.
Yeah. I mean, like asking, do you believe in ghosts? Yes or no? A lot of people who actually do believe in ghosts are too shy to actually honestly say that they do. So we just wish you all the best. Don't get cursed. Oh, careful. And you have to now send this video to a lot of your friends.
That's a good idea.
To stay safe.
Yep.
And protect them.
If you don't, we've got a toenail waiting in a secondhand item for you. It's coming at you. You need to send it within 3 days of watching. You must send it on. Otherwise,
nothing will happen.
Yeah, nothing happen at all. We are not cursed individuals. We're not curse givers.
No, we're not. Be nice to people around you.
Curse giver would be a good name for a metal band, you know?
Oh.
Yeah. Curse bearer sounds more poetic, but then you're the one with the curse. Like what's another poetic word for giving?
Curse clown.
Curse clown? Curse clown?
The curse clown.
I used to be a clown.
You don't mess with the curse clown. Anyways, this was an episode of Cat with Beard. See you next week.